All right, camera
Oh,
going.
okay.
Here we are, and my name is Wolf Sandström, and I'm here because I'm looking up everything that I experience has been a part of creating remarkable change, either for me or for a client or for somebody I know. And I work with the tools of, well, basically it's three tools. It's hypnosis, a state of mind where you can change things. It's neurolinguistic programming or mental training or anything that you can do in the state of hypnosis. And then how do you make the body's autonomous nervous system stop reacting to emotional triggers of the past so that the mind can be online? So that's where I come from, and that's me. And over to a good friend and colleague, and we've known each other a long while in many different walks of life. So, but I'm going to let you present yourself and everything. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Tony in English, Tone in norsk. I'm Norwegian, but I live in Sweden, and I work as a kinesiologist and a massage therapist. I started off as a massage therapist, and then I went on to becoming a kinesiologist because I realized that there is so much more that you can do than just massaging the body.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm now trying to develop even further.
Right. And the thing is this, when we met, it was when you were working as a massage therapist, because as a massage therapist, as opposed to just giving people massage to loosen up their muscles, to relax, to make them feel good, release some endorphins and all that stuff that massage does, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, if I've understood it right, a massage therapist is somebody that will use massage to help somebody regain a balance in the body that has been somehow diseased.
Well, basically, it's a therapeutic. You're a therapist. You work therapeutically. So basically, you will try to solve the problem. If a person has a knee pain, you won't just massage the leg and hope that's going to solve the problem. You will do a lot of tests. You have a broader and a wider and a deeper understanding of everything in the body.
Right. So we're talking muscle structure, skeleton structure, prosody. Are all the nerves communicating properly?
Yeah.
But it's not chiropractor. It's not being a chiropractor, and it's not being a naturopath.
No. You don't do any manipulation of the joints or anything like that, but you do a lot of muscles tests, and you also have a wider understanding of how the physiology in the body works, and also the language that doctors use, because people come to you with papers from the doctor saying, this is what I got from my doctor. I don't understand it. It's all in Latin.
Right.
So then you can explain to them, okay, your doctor says this and this and this is the problem. So out of that, this is what I could help you with. And this is what your doctor should help you with.
Yeah. And from there, since we knew each other from before, and you knew I was working with the mind and how the mind affects the body and how certain touch of the body can affect the nervous system, you asked me to do a hypnotic language course to be able to use hypnotic language patterns for a massage therapist, because when you are massaging the body, very often there's a body memory, and everything in the body has a connection to the mind, and if you want, the soul, if you're comfortable with that. So that connection, what happens in the soul and mind, expresses in the body, or is somatized into the body, which means a back pain isn't necessarily an hernia because of some kind of rupture. It could be it could be a divorce. It could be a psychological trauma that is manifesting there. Right.
I have a very, very good example there. A woman around 45 came to me with a knee pain, and we worked on everything to solve the problem in the knee. And I said, physiologically and anatomically, there is nothing wrong with your knee. And I just get this hunch that there is a trauma. And I think you should go home and think about this. So she came back about 3 months later and said, I've been thinking about this. And when I was 10, I was sent to a hospital, and my mum and dad couldn't come with me. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I had doctors poking around on my leg and especially my knee, because there was something wrong with my knee. But I was there on my own, and I was 10. Trauma, obviously. So basically what I did, I treated her knee with your amazing tapping technique. And the whole thing just vanished. And a week later, she texted me and said, not only do I just feel lighter and I'm happier and I sleep better, but I've also lost 5 kilos. She was quite overweight. So she had kind of cushioned her body up to defend herself against this trauma that she didn't really know what the trauma was. So everything just went away thanks to, and very often this happens. You touch something on the body and this reaction comes that nobody really knows where it's coming from.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's how it started, because you had some clients that you were seeing, or patients, and you sensed that there was some kind of trauma. So you sent them to me, they came back and the trauma was resolved. And now you could treat the body because there wasn't this block, this defense reaction, which sometimes whiplash can be. And all of those things can be defense mechanisms that actually are psychological. So when they came back to you, you could treat them. So you said, what are you doing? I want to learn that. And that's when we created the hypnotic language patterns for a massage therapist, so that when something arises on the bench, you can help people explore it in a safe way. But you also learn the tapping technique, which is basically a trauma tapping technique, that you're calming the autonomous nervous system by touching certain points of the body that allow the brain to relax. And there's a second technique called havening, which does basically the same thing, or uses the same model of reactive emotional response relaxation. So with that, we were kind of juggling patients or clients back and forth, and actually having a very good time. And we taught these hypnotic language patterns to lots of people. We used clean language, which there's another video with Judy Reese, which I really adore clean language, because it's the attitude that I have no idea about this patient. They say they have a bad knee, but I have no idea if the problem is the problem or something else, because the knee can't be the problem, because something must have caused it. So is the cause still relevant? Do we need to address it? Is there something else? And that's, how you can go. And I don't know how you think, but I feel from working with you and having been to you as do you call it patient or client?
I call it patient because they have problems. And very often they come to me and say, I've been to the doctors, I've taken all the tests, I've taken all the x-rays, and there's nothing wrong with me, but I feel like shit. So obviously something is wrong.
Exactly. And what comes through my mind is to be a patient, that the word patient is there because they need patience, because nobody's helping them.
That's true.
So they need to find, they need patience to find the person who can actually help them. Okay.
I
so
know just one little thing.
Yeah,
I know that within the English language, I should not be allowed to say patient if I was working in England, because my English colleagues say, no, you should say client. So in English, we should say client.
Yeah. And for me, since I work complementary in Sweden, and in Sweden, the law says I don't treat patients, I work with clients, even if they would be called patients in England. So it's the matter of the law and the ethics and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So in any case, when this happens and we're bouncing these back and forth, we realize that clean, and this is what I feel. You were doing massage therapy and some muscle testing, right? In the massage therapy. And muscle testing is going, let's find out what's wrong with this body. So you're going, how is this? Is your brain actually giving so if my brain and my hand are connected in a congruent and balanced way with a homeostasis, then I should be able to do this with my eyes closed and the fingers should meet. Now, if I have a stroke and one half of the brain is out of sync, then I might miss, when I close my eyes and do this. I might even be able to do it with my eyes open because they're not responding. So what you're doing with muscle testing, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're finding out that all these connections actually are the way they should be. So there's no obvious weakness or imbalance in the system, right?
Yeah, as a kinesiologist, I work with the nervous system, and I see how different things affects the nervous system.
Yeah.
So as a massage therapist, I will check if the muscle is strong enough, or if there's pain when I test it. As a kinesiologist, I'd see, is the nervous system actually sending the signal? And is it sending the right amount of signal? And is it the right signal? And is it affected by anything like your shoes, or what you eat, or what you wear, or whatever? So that's the difference.
Right. And I feel that that's the exact same thing that I'm doing, but I'm doing it with the psychology of the client. So they come to me, they come to you and say, I have this knee. So you do, let's find out what your body says. How do all our nerve endings working? Is there a rupture somewhere? Is there a muscle that has, gone into cramp, or what is the reason for this? And
Or is
they
it
go,
another joint that doesn't work? Which is
or is
very
it
often the
somewhere else? And
case.
usually the problem isn't
Yeah,
the problem. So a pain here could be a
exactly.
joint over there. And in
Yeah,
the same way, they come to me and they say, um, I am depressed because I had a bad childhood, or I feel afraid of relationships because I had a really bad one with a narcissistic abuser, or whatever, you know.
mm.
And I go, you feel bad, you think that's the reason, but there's often something on the other end of all of this, and you can't be sure that it is. So let's find out what your mind and body say. And the
Yeah,
reason I say body is because I work with the autonomous nervous system. So I ask them, if you just close your eyes and you think about that incident that you believe is the cause of this emotional distress, what happens in your body? And they go, nothing. So I go, that's not the reason. And this is it. It's not harder than that. You're muscle testing from 0 to 10, and I'm soul testing from 0 to 10, or field
yeah,
testing,
yeah. You
subjective
could
units of distress.
do that. You could put that question, and you could muscle test it
Yeah.
as well.
So what I mean is it's so similar, but you're coming from the body side, and I'm coming from reading the body, but not by touching it, but by looking
Yeah.
at the reactions.
Mm.
And that's why these things seem to fit so well. So I'm really striving for a holistic approach where I realize that the more I learn, the less I know. And with you have this bell curve that for 80% of the people, a knee pain means that. So in
Yeah.
research, it's been shown that knee pain, you should do this and this and this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, research is fine up to the point that you actually mean a real person. Because your first bet is going to be, okay, maybe you fit into the 80% spectrum of solutions for this. And they go, no, I've been to therapy 10 years. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So you're one of the outliers here. You're one of the
Mm-hmm.
20%, either 10 below or 10 over, roughly speaking. So this doesn't apply to you. So we have to throw out the window everything that research has shown up to today. And because we've tried that, and we have to find out what is another way of resolving this. And at times, I can resolve this. At most 80% of the time, I can resolve this by looking at the emotions, by looking at the past, by doing hypnosis, by going with tapping, by resolving.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes to physical pain, and the very simple fact, I'm working with the mind and soul reading the body. But I keep telling my patients lately, there's one thing you have to understand. You are a guest in a mammal.
Yep.
You are a guest in a mammal. And if you had a dog and you didn't feed it, people would go, that's very bad of you. If you overfed it and it's fat, people would go, that's not right. If you pushed it into a corner and stressed it and it bit somebody, you would say that's perfectly understandable. And if it could drink when it was in the corner, it would. And you would say that's also perfectly understandable, right? So just having people realize that we are guests in a mammal. We didn't choose it. We can operate it, we can tattoo it, we can change it up to a certain degree, like Michael Jackson has proven, but we cannot change the whole script. And there are some things it will decide for us. So if I say, hold your breath until you faint, the mammal is going to go, heck no, and you're going to start breathing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going off a tangent here, but for me, I approach people from you're living in a mammal, and I'll talk to your mind and soul about it, and we can calm the mammal with tapping and havening. But then I come to a point where I say, this mammal might have a structural problem. There might be actually a physical injury here. There might be nerve endings not working. Maybe it's not getting the right nutritions or nutriments that it should have. Oh, I've been to the doctor. I took my blood sample in this. And yes, you did. But they're not looking for the exact same things, because they are looking for dis-ease and lack of something. But you might need a plus of something. And that's not what they find out at the doctors, right?
Yeah.
And this is where I came to you, and you were at me for a year saying, Ulf, you have to try holographic kinesiology. And I'm going, I can't even spell it, but you have my, you have my complete confidence in anything you do. So when I came, and I came gladly, you spent 2 hours more or less, or 1.5 hours.
Yeah,
and what you did was, you didn't talk to me. You didn't address my whatever I thought it was. You didn't even care what I said. You treated the mammal in my mind, and you asked it, dear
Yeah.
body of Wolf.
What do you want?
What do you want? And you were doing both muscle testing to find out structural issues, either with the skeleton, correct me if I'm wrong now, either with the skeleton or with the muscles or with the signals from the brain to the muscles and the skeleton and the skin and everything. But then you also use the holographic kinesiology to find out, and this is where it becomes a bit woo-woo, but I've accepted it because it worked. You're asking my body, so what are you lacking and what do you want? And this is when it comes to nutrition, like vitamin B, and you gave me some really strange powder, which was chlorophyll. I don't even understand it, but it's fantastic. So tell me about this.
Well, basically what we do is, and this is a thing that I've been taught by Ulf Schiedman. I want to mention his name because he's been developing this fantastic technique for the last like 20, 30 years.
And Ulf is a good name.
Is a very good name. So basically what we do is we treat the body, and we treat the body holistically. So the first thing I do is that I ask the body, can we just check that you have the right length when it comes to your arms and your legs? So we make that everything is the same length, and then we check that you have enough water, because without water, the muscles don't work and the nervous system can't really respond properly. So you need to make sure that you have a body on your bench that actually can give you a response worth your money. And then you start
right there.
Yep.
I was told by somebody just recently in a workshop that somebody teaches that for tapping to be more at its most effective, tapping and havening, people need to be hydrated. And I didn't understand why. So this is kind of an explanation, because you're giving me a neurobiological explanation. And I, as a nerd, I love that. So what you're saying is, if there's not water in the system, the electrochemical signals cannot travel the way they should.
Yeah, I show this to people because the thing that I do a lot, I do different signs with my fingers. So I ask the body by putting my fingers together in different variations, and then I do. Oh God, I got to do it behind my back because I always do it behind my back. I do this sign asking, do you have enough water?
Yeah.
And if people go weak, then no. And what I do then is I take, and this sounds a bit like we do, but I take a glass of water and I put it between their legs and I test their psoas muscle, which is the water muscle as well.
Which one was
and
that?
It's all psoas, höftböjaren. I don't know what that's called.
Hip bender.
Hip bender.
Hip bender.
Yeah.
Sounds like a soul song with James Brown. Hip bender. Okay, I like it.
And the leg will go, and I will go, hold your leg, and people will go, I can't. Yeah. And then I'll put a glass of water between the legs, because as soon as you put anything within the electrical sphere that is actually surrounding your body, the body thinks it's getting a glass of water. And all of a sudden, when you do the same test, it's like that. And I'm going, that wasn't even difficult, was it?
Wait. No, I'm sorry. My brain has a movie going on in the background here. So what I saw right now was that when somebody, they find this little, oh, look, what a cute little hamster. And they go, oh, I love it. The reason that kids do like this is because they're bringing it closer to their electromechanical sphere, so they can feel more joy with it.
Yeah, well, one thing that we can all agree on is that we are electrical systems, right? Yeah. I mean, science, everybody, we agree on certain things. We are mammals, we are electrical systems. Yes. And electricity is going out to a certain distance around us. And people ask me when I do this test, they're going, how come that works? Because you haven't even poured the water into my body. So how can the body know this? And I said, well, because your body feels everything that is around you in a certain area. It's like if you sit in a cafe and you have this horrible person staring into your neck, wishing that you were dead, you will, sooner or later, you will turn around and go, what are you staring at?
Yeah.
Well, explain that.
Because you can sense it. And also, if you have a dog that's lying down and you bring, something it might want to have close, its tail is starting to go like this. And that's more or less what you're saying that the body's doing. So this is very hard for, if there are any hardcore skeptics out there, they're probably going to go, where's the science? That's the most stupid thing I've heard. You mean a biological being that has developed for 500,000 years actually can sense things not only with the brain?
Yep. That's kind of how we survived, I think.
Yeah. Well, I can only say this to the skeptics out there. I'm not a skeptic. I am an experiencist, and I'm a specificist. So I trust my own experiences more than whatever research you're going to shove under my nose, because I might be the 10% that the research doesn't apply for, and I'll take the
Yeah.
risk. And I did try this, and I have tried several muscle testing, and I must say that I find that not all people seem to be able to do it, because it seems to me that you need to be a clean slate. You need to be in a know nothing state to be able to muscle test.
That is so important. Glad you brought that up, because that is really the most important thing, that I should just be neutral. Because sometimes I start to think, I go, oh, it could be vitamin B, couldn't it? And the body always goes, shut up, Tony. Don't think. Just do what, just ask, and then you will get the answers. Really
But also,
important.
you're also doing it as a random control trial, because you were putting substances into my field, right? So
Yeah.
you're getting substances into my field, basically asking my body, are you wagging your tail or not? By muscle testing. And you did not look at those vials, what they contained, because you didn't want to taint
No.
your way of looking at it. So I
Yep.
noticed this, because I do notice these things. So I'm thinking, I'm going to bust her, not because I want to bust you, but because, I'm just curious. But I couldn't, because everything you did it completely clean. You put it there, you tested back and forth, and you tested not once, you tested at least 3 to 5 times, and you double checked my body that it hadn't gone out of balance again.
Yeah.
Because basically, I mean, this is the thing again. You go to somebody who's a beginner massage therapist, and they're going to look at your legs and they're going to go, your one leg is longer than the other. And then you Google that, and it says everybody's one leg is longer than the other, because we're always out of balance. But they should be able to be the same length when you are completely in balance. Aha. Okay. So
it's about balance.
yeah, it's about balance. So it's not about, whether it is or isn't. So I like that. And when you checked it, I could feel when you were doing it, because you put my arms over my head and you saw, this. And I was all the time thinking, is she looking to confirm? Is it a confirmation bias that she believes that this should be it? Or is she actually checking completely neutral? And to my experience, you were checking completely neutral all the time. And so I just put my skeptic mind aside, and I said, I'm going to join this ride. I'm going to let the body and your body talk. That sounds weird. And my intellect is just going to curiously sit at the side, and watch this and see what happens. And this was the weird thing, because it went on longer than you thought it would.
Yes.
Because my body was jumping back out all the time. Yeah. And here is also where I see similarities. When this happens to me with a client, I go, oh, it doesn't want to. And I don't go, I have to find out what this is and explain it and prove it to the world. No, I don't care what it is, but let's see what can make it go away. Is that correct to say that you have the same attitude?
Absolutely. And it's always like, oh, this has happened. Okay, so when we're in the session, whenever you suddenly go like that, or your neck muscles go really hard, that means the body says, hang on, Tony, I don't really understand what you're doing now. What are you up to? So that means I just have to take everything that I put on your body away and then make you right again, so that you're back in balance. And basically what I do, I ask, what system is it that has a problem? And I connect that system up to the brain again. And then I ask the body, so are you okay now? And we check, and then you are back in balance. So it's always about, if I'm going to be able to proceed, I have to make sure that the body has actually received my message and understood the message. So there's 2 parts to it.
And this is where I think the skeptics go awry a little bit, because when we use the metaphor of saying, I'm talking to your body and it's talking to me, then people go, that's woo-woo. But if you're saying I'm muscle testing, and when I put things close to your body, I muscle test and I get this response, and I try it again, I get that response, and I do it 4 times, and I do an average of that, and then I find a real big difference, then I could disregard that because nobody can prove exactly what I'm doing, or I can just listen to it. But a lot of this has actually been proven. Because
Yes.
the Schielman is working together with the Karolinska Institutet, and they're doing studies on these, aren't they?
Yes. And also there's a lovely woman in London who I think, I can't remember whether it was Eton, Oxford, or Cambridge, Oxford, I can't remember, who has actually done a really huge scientific study within Cambridge or Oxford on muscle testing alone. Anne Jensen, look her up. I think you would enjoy that. So, I mean, there is scientific proof. It's just that people don't want to look at it. I mean, it also depends what your radar is on, basically, I think.
And I think it's not only that, because basically hypnosis was the one way of actually doing an amputation and have people not, just faint from the pain, because it was the only way of anesthesia up to the point where they managed to use a drug instead to induce a drug-induced comatic state for painless operations. Up to that point, hypnosis was the shit. It was the only way. It was the best way. But it requires the person to learn it and refine it. And I see it as being a musician, because I am a musician. So I can see the parallel. You
Yes,
learn
absolutely.
the basic chords. Everybody can learn how to play 3 chords and do some good stuff. That is really amazing. Same with hypnosis. Same with tapping. And then anybody can also continue a whole lifetime and develop so many micro skills that can resolve so many other things beside the basic stuff. And sometimes you only need the 3 chords, and sometimes you want a symphony, and that's the only thing that will help. And that's what I see with holographic kinesiology as well, because it requires you to be in a good state of mind. You can't be irritated and mad and waiting to make a phone call and be fully present and muscle test. And I can't do it either with a client if I'm doing. So this is patient-centered, and it's fully present, and it's non-judgmental treatment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really do like about the holographic kinesiology, is that it's, like you said, it's so thorough. You don't just muscle test one muscle and go, oh, you need to hit this, and you need to have this. And you really go through so many systems in the body, and you make sure that every system is on the same page. Every system says, yep, this thing is good. Yep, I know how to use this. Yes, I can also take advantage of this, whatever it is I put on your body. And that's a huge difference between holographic kinesiology and others. I mean, because kinesiology is a huge umbrella. So there are masses of different ways of using kinesiology. And every kinesiologist is quite unique, I think. But this holographic kinesiology is a very, very specific system that Ulf Kielman has developed under 20 years. And the fact that he's been to London, I've met the top guys and learned from them, has developed a really amazing system.
See, I'm thinking here, because I have been in touch with Dr. Martin Brunk in Hanover many, many years. And we've been developing trainings with hypnotic language patterns, just like you and I did. And he comes from being a medical doctor, but they are allowed in Germany to do complementary practice as well.
Yeah.
So, which is completely different from Sweden. And I do think that their system is better, because who doesn't want somebody who both is a doctor and doing, something that is on the cutting edge, pioneering, discovering what could be working, although we may not have, sussed it down to exactly what it is. So in this case, he also does treatments, and he does a lot of treatments for sports people. And he's had amazing results, taking football players that have been counted out, that nobody, they're out, they're off, the career is over. And he comes from applied kinesiology, and I don't know what the difference is, but what he does is muscle testing, and he also tests for substances coming from the medical field. He also embraces all kinds of substance testing to find out, on a molecule level, on a blood sample level, on a, what is it that is actually might be missing, to see what are the biomarkers and what are the testing markers or the subjective markers that we can find. And I'd love for you two to meet. And I think maybe we have to do another one like this with him as well, because he has really some exciting ideas about it. But so tell me, kinesiology is a big field. And it was from applied kinesiology that tapping and havening are developed. because Roger
Ah.
Callahan, he came from applied kinesiology, and he was working with Mary, who had a
Mm.
water phobia, and he was absent-mindedly, testing some applied kinesiology and moving, and all of a sudden she goes, "It's gone, it's gone," and he goes, "What's gone?" It's the water phobia, and they had spent I don't know how much time on this. It's on the Oprah Winfrey Show
Ah.
because she's very famous, and so we see with that. So from the field of applied kinesiology was developed energy psychology, which is that of sensomotoric input
Mm.
to calm down reactive emotional patterns, those that we cannot control with our mind, which a phobia basically is, and also a panic attack or defensive rage or,
Yeah.
all these things. So can you give me an idea if what's the holographic in this? What kind of holographic is that holographic?
Well, the holographic is the fact that you actually go very deep into the body's systems and get into the real core of it. If I use a normal kinesiology or non-holographic, I don't get that deep into the systems. I don't use the same finger codes. I don't get to that point. And also, the testing, when you come to, is this really true? Is this actually what the whole body wants? Is it okay for all the systems? That is another thing that is the holographic thing, that it's really testing the whole body and not just a part of it. Even though the other kinesiology is fantastic as well. And it really depends what kind of problem you have. Sometimes I just use bits because that's going to solve the problem. But the people who come to me with, I have tried everything problems, I have been to the doctors, I have been to the chiropractors, I have the x-rays, I have the blood samples, and nobody can find out what's wrong with me. That's when the holographic kinesiology is absolutely amazing, because then it really just goes into the body's really deepest layer and say, what is wrong? Where do you need help?
Yeah.
And it could be anything that could be lying there, like a bacteria, a parasite, or a virus that somebody hasn't actually looked at the whole picture, that way, and that went three-dimensionally.
And that's what I liked about it, because I really think that applied kinesiology works fantastically, because I've tried it, and I believe that any therapy that's out there will work for somebody, and you can get
Oh,
the same
yes.
result in different ways. And the question is more of allowing this variety instead of trying to find what is the best. Because if you're saying the best, what you're saying is we want to have the methods that work for 80% and we don't give a crap about the 20. That's what happens when you say that. So saying this Swedish misunderstanding of what is evidence validated interventions is saying that we're only going to help 80% of the population, and that's enough. Right. So what you do is you allow people to do different things, but you control that they're not dangerous, and you make sure that it couldn't be harmful in any way, and that's what you need. But you also need to evaluate interventions, which we don't do in Sweden. So we do studies on things that have been around 20 years, and then during 5-10 years we study them, and usually we study them in the US because we're there, they have lots of studies. So the studies are made on students, usually in campus, and not on Swedish population eating salmon and having darkness 8 months of the year. So there could be differences, sometimes not. And then this comes here, and people say this is the method. We're going to have this method, and all the other ones are crap because there is a study on this one. When in fact, I believe that we should say this works for the 80 and have a really fast way to find out if you're not within the 80, so that we don't waste a couple of years of your life finding out that this wasn't the method for you. Right?
I so absolutely, totally agree with you. And I always say everything works, but not always, and not for everyone.
And everything can't be explained. I mean, anesthesia, lithium, why does it work for bipolarity and schizophrenia? We have no idea. No, we don't even know how a paracetamol actually works and actually relieves pain. The whole, it's not completely sussed out, but we know from experience and studies that it doesn't seem to be harmful in certain doses. So we have to be humble around that. But here's the thing. Applied kinesiology works, everything works, but holographic kinesiology, for me, the difference now, correct me if I'm wrong, seems to be the mudras, the hand signals that you're
Yeah.
using, seems
Yeah.
to be something that Ulf has developed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. And
Absolutely.
also the fact that you were not only asking my body, what is it that it seems to need by adding substances into my field and testing my muscles,
Mm.
but you also put bacteria there to see if
Yeah.
any of them would make my body weak, as if they are actually affecting my body. And there was a fungus. I don't remember
Yeah.
what you called it. What was it?
Oh God, I can't remember.
Oh,
I've
microbial. Yeah, I just saw
something.
a little mushroom in my head. I was going, hello,
Yeah.
little mushroom. You know, we can be friends. Don't worry. I'm not going to kill you. Yeah. So, and then from that testing, you asked my body, okay, so we have this, we have the structure, we correct the basics. These are the substances that the body seems to want a little bit more of. And as far as I understand, we need proteins and minerals and amino acids, and there's 23 of them, and 9 we need to get through food. And if we don't eat
Yeah.
properly, we get a lack of those. I might have the numbers wrong, but in general, the principle is if we don't
Yeah.
have those and get an imbalance in that, it doesn't matter how much we analyze ourselves on a psychological sofa, because the mammal is not ready to receive that. Just like lack
Yeah.
of water can mean that.
Yeah.
So the substances that you gave me are very similar to green medicine in Cuba, which is
Oh.
basically, since they've been in a blockade for so long, and sometimes there's just not medicine in the country and you can't get that. But they have more doctors per capita than any other country in the world because university is free, just like in Sweden. So people are medically trained, but they don't have access to the substances. But they have the African tradition of healing, which
Oh.
is, how do you make toothpaste if you don't have toothpaste?
Mm-hmm.
How do you make soap? And what they do is they work by triggering the immune system. So if the immune system is low, they will tease it, just like you do with a vaccine. You tease
Mm-hmm.
the immune system to
Mm-hmm.
get on its feet and, get back and in
Yeah.
shape. And then you get herbal extracts that you take several times a day because you want that trigger to be small, raise the
Mm-hmm.
immune
But
system.
often.
Yeah, small but often. And then if you're getting the immune system on its feet, you also want it to have some power. So it's not only about, here we get you on your feet in the right way. It's also, and you might need some extra, whatever, sugar or
Mm.
chlorophyll, or,
Mm.
something that
Mm.
normally people would go, where's the evidence of that? But
Mm.
but here the evidence is in the body. And if you buy the paradigm and you buy that there's nothing saying that it's harmful, then I can say, for me, it reminded me of that. So it was easy for me to embrace. I already been through the skeptical loop of that, because I've done that Cuban green medicine and I've taken those extracts and I noticed the change. And I noticed this seems to be doing the same thing,
Yeah.
because
Well, the
it
only
makes
thing you
me,
can do is to
it
try
feels
it.
strong.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I do when it comes to whatever substance is that, one, I test it through 10 different systems in the body, and every system has to say yes. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I have to correct the system and see that it's back in balance. And then after that, again, it has to come up a second time. Then the body has to ask for it. And then I will test your nervous system in a different way to see that, yeah, you need about this much, because we want all these different muscles to be strong, because walking is one of the most complex movements that we do. Everything needs to actually work together. So the fact that it's checked with 10 different systems, and then again the nervous system is tested again, gives me an assurance that you should really have this. And the good thing is that when we find a parasite or a bacteria or whatever it is, people can get a bit worried. But I said, well, the only good thing is that now we found it. So when we found it, then we also always have something that we can help the body with. And this is also, I think, a difference with kinesiology or alternative medicine, if you call it that, is that we try to boost the body's resources so that the body will heal itself. Because I don't think anybody is better at healing the body than the body itself, but sometimes it just needs a little bit help.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also what is done when you do the hypnotherapy and the stuff that I do, if you call it the stuff, but it's actually
Yeah,
quite a lot. And
it is.
what that is you take away the reactive emotions that have been programmed by your life experience, the ones of phobias and anxiety and heartbeat and brain fog, all those reactive emotions that have been programmed through danger, because that's a safety system. When you experience a traumatic experience, it's encoded in your system so that you can avoid it. So you're supposed to react like that when you hear a hamster coming because one hamster bit you when you were a baby.
Yeah.
Silly thing, seemed everybody laughs, but for your body, it's life and death.
Yeah.
So once you clear away the reactive emotions, you have to ask, what are the resources needed now, and what is the skill set needed now to move forward? Because if, as a baby in the adverse childhood experience study, your parents weren't there for you, they might have been abusive or just absent, loving and absent or abusive and present, whichever
Yeah.
case, you
Yeah.
grow up with a hard time of attachment to people. And this gives you anxiety, and the anxiety gives you a phobia, and all of a sudden you're locked indoors and not talking to people.
Mm.
So you clear away the reactive anxiety, and
Yeah.
then you need the skill of social skill to be able to, while you're not afraid to attach to people, you have no idea how. And your body might never have learned how to play football or eat properly or anything because you were so afraid of going out. So basically you're dehydrated and everything is shit. And I think your phone there.
Yeah, I have low
It just
battery.
timed perfectly
Sorry.
with shit. So that was good. That was intentional. So what happens is, you need to restore the three parts. You need to restore safety by taking away the reactions. Then you need to fine tune the mammal.
Yeah.
Then you can install new skills and resources,
Yeah.
and you can try defeating life or conquering or enjoying or playfully loving life, whatever way you choose to see it.
Mm.
And that's why I think it's so great that we collaborate, because
And
I
that's
can't
exactly the
I
same
can't do
thing
the
I
body
do.
thing.
No, but we do. It's exactly what you say. We do the same thing. And then when we got to the end, I don't know if you remember, when the body says, "Yeah, that's it. I don't need anything more." That's when I say, "Okay, right, body. So we're going to put you to the test." And then that's when you have to do a lot of strange movements, because I want to see. Because now the body has told me I can do anything. So I'm going to, right, show me. So you had to do a little crazy 70s dance, amongst other things, I think.
Yep.
And
Because that's the easiest way to find out if everything is connected.
exactly. So if that works, and if your neck muscles are soft and supple, you are allowed out of this room. Otherwise, not.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole thing. I don't remember if it was Epictetus or Aristotle, but already 2,000, 3,000 years ago, the ancient Greeks were saying, um, everybody is asking definitely for the cure. They want the cure for their body that is feeling a dis-ease, but they would never stop their drinking or eating or sitting still or just indulging overly in all kinds of sins. They would rather have the doctor come with a cure. And
Yeah.
that's where we are today. So I think that the cure can be a pill at times. It can be a vitamin. It could be, faith. It could be a social contact. But you need to get out of the reactive emotions, and you need to balance the mammal so the mammal is okay. You don't take a street dog
Yes.
and give it to kids until it's calmed down, the fur is fine, the bugs are out, it's eaten, it's slept, and it's not jumping all the time.
Yeah. And what people don't realize now, which is one of the things that I try to teach people, is that just feel your neck muscles, because they
Yeah.
should be supple at all times. And if they
Yeah.
are not, your body is in stress.
Exactly.
And there's something near to you, probably your phone, your iPad, computer, because that actually they do all activate the nervous system in a negative way. But it could be your shoes, it could be your sofa, it could be the new jacket you bought.
And here, I'm calming down the agitated skeptics. And this is the funny thing. If you're a skeptic, you pride yourself in a logical, critical mind. Why are you so emotionally upset? Because all you have to do is put on your curious hat and say, it seems wild and crazy that my shoes could affect this, but why don't you just try taking them away and feeling your shoulder? Because this was also an aha moment for me, because you told me, aha, here your shoulders are tense. Can you feel it? And I went like, yeah, I feel my shoulders are tense, So my mind goes into what I believe. I have been stressed for a long time, and this accumulated stress tensed my shoulders, and now I need a deep massage so I can finally relax, and it's going to take time.
Mm.
And then you did muscle testing and put a substance on my body and muscle tested again, and it was gone. It was
Mhm.
gone. So that was the aha moment, that this tension is more like a switch. It's turned on and off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's connected to my nervous system that says, go into tension, go out of tension, go into tension.
This muscle is one of two muscles that go directly to the brain. It doesn't go via the vertebra.
Wow,
So
I didn't know.
it does have a direct. And this, I usually say that is because when you're out in the woods, when we're all working in caves, walking, living in caves, we do like this when we met the bear out, picking blueberries. Why do we do like that? Because we want to not have the
Protect
bear.
our arteries.
Yeah. Take the arteries, because then we're dead. And then we come home, we go like that.
Yeah.
And we need to feel the bear on 100 yards, because otherwise
I can feel it. I can feel a cold beer in 10 meters.
Oh,
feel the bear. That's going to be the new T-shirt.
Yeah.
Feel the bear around
Feel
you.
the bear.
No, but I really, really, really agree that this is so much more a fact of try it, explore it curiously, and see what it does for you. Because why would you miss out on the fact that your body might be able to tell you exactly what it wants? Because it told you when it was tired, it told you when it was hungry, it told you when it needed potato crisps and not salt fish. So why would it not be able to tell you something else? That's kind of discrediting this wonderful mammal.
And people come to me and say, well, I don't really believe in this. And I say, well, so
exactly,
your body doesn't care. I don't care. And a lot of people do come back and say, can I do that thing that I don't believe in because it works, but I still don't believe in it.
And that's exactly the same thing for tapping and havening. People don't need to believe in it. And it's also the same thing for hypnosis. People can be in deep trance and they have no idea. And they say, well, I feel different, but I don't think I was hypnotized. Well, okay then.
Whatever.
As a matter of fact, you're hypnotizing yourself right now by making yourself believe that you weren't, and etc.
Yeah.
So what is our message besides that? These are at least, I would say, two ways of approaching. If you're going to see a lot of doctors and you're getting help, but you feel there's something left that isn't resolved, if you want to try something different, you might want to try seeing the mammal whisperer, which is a holographic kinesiologist like Tone. And I can vouch for her. I'm sure there are plenty more that are great, but I've only tried one and I will only vouch for that one right now. But find the one that is near you and, just talk to them. Is there anything you'd need to think about when you want to value? Because if somebody wants to go see, for example, a hypnotherapist or a tapper, a havener, I tell them, when you meet them or talk to them, just ask your system, do I feel that I can trust this person? And do I want to try what they're going to, tell me? And if your system says, yeah, after 10, 15 seconds, I say that's probably a yeah. It's not because there's so many therapists that believe or are taught that you have to establish a therapeutic alliance, which takes 10 sessions. And I only see my clients 2 sessions. So I wouldn't vouch for that. It's about being connected and credible and authentic from the start. I'm totally there.
Yeah. The only thing that I ask people when they come to me is that do not take any pills or substances that morning, because then I won't know if your body needs them or not. That's really the only thing.
That's also so parallel, because if somebody comes to me for a craving, I crave cocaine, I crave marijuana, I crave sex, I crave the internet, and I say, whatever you do, if that's what you want to treat, bring it. I cannot treat it if it isn't there. If you're going to be smoking a pack outside the door, going, I finally, that was my last pack. Now I'm ready to quit smoking. And how are you going to quit? You just took away the craving.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
So, I mean, bring the craving, bring the pain, take away the painkiller, take away the antidepressant for at least a day if you can. But be very careful and always consult your medic who prescribed it, because some of those you should not quit. Don't do it.
But I don't just mean medicines. I mean, a lot of people go and buy a lot of alternative medicines or
Yes.
alternative herbs, pills, tablets, vitamins, and not all of them are things that you really need. But you are told that, oh, yes, the guy before you said that he needed vitamin D, and you probably need it as well. I mean, we are constantly facing all these advertising saying, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this. But you don't really know, do you? So people spend a lot of money buying pills because they think that's what they need. But occasionally it's actually a negative thing for the body.
And that's not only school medicine pills. That's also health medicine
Oh,
pills. I mean,
yes,
alternative. So
absolutely.
there's no difference. Some of them are sold
No.
as a tested drug, approved by the FDA or something,
Yep.
and some are being marketed as the Solve-It-All that nobody has understood yet. Just find out a little bit more, because I also
Mm-hmm.
heard this. My mother had cancer, and when she had cancer treatment, I went on the phase of embrace school medicine, take everything they have, but also embrace boosting your immune system, which was the Cuban approach, and also that of the Kennedy mother of the clan, who had cancer and didn't want to do the chemotherapy. She wanted to boost the immune system.
Mm.
So I don't remember if she did both or whatever, but I mean, the whole approach is either you boost or you try to exonerate it with,
Yeah.
chemicals and
Yes.
radiation. So I told my mother, take these health juices, take these things, because I know for sure they're not only adding sugar, because sugar is bad for cancer, but what you want is, specific things. And then I
Yeah.
found out that out of all these things, it's actually shown in studies that grapefruit juice, which normally is extremely good for you, can actually, in combination
Yeah.
with chemotherapy, be really, really harmful. So
Yeah.
you have to think holistically, or that's where I assume is the holographic of that, because a
Yes.
holography for me is that the whole is contained in every molecule.
Yes. If everything is interconnected,
Yeah,
everything. And
yeah,
another thing that I keep telling people, that just because you go to the health stall doesn't mean they don't want to earn money on you.
no. And that
Simple
goes
as
for
that.
everywhere you go. But one
Yeah.
more thing. A
Yeah.
lot of kinesiologists that I've been to also use homeopathic substances when they treat. But the impression I got from the Chielman approach is you're not really, it didn't feel like homeopathic, because what you gave me was definitely not homeopathic. You gave me
No.
chlorophyll, an herbal mix, and vitamin B. So that's
Mm.
more what a dietist would give me. And if
Yeah.
they didn't have the muscle testing, they would take a blood sample and see you seem to lack this or that.
Yeah. Well, what I use Shieldman's special products, and I have tried other products, but as soon as I muscle test the other products, the body will go yes, and then I take that off. Then I will muscle test a Shieldman product, and the body will go, oh yeah. And then if I then put back the first product, the body will go, no, 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 no. You showed me something that I like much more.
Yeah.
So after a certain period of time, I realized that the products that I have to use, because that is what the bodies are telling me, and this is what I'm getting back from my clients, is that this actually worked, are the products that are being tested and kinesiology. God, now, how are you going to
Yeah.
get your tongue around that
Kinesiology
word?
calibrated.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So he has not only just taken one product and then tested it, he's also tested, do these two products actually work together? So he's also done the cocktail effect in all these products. And that is the only thing I can say, is that if the body has a choice, it will always choose the Hillman product.
Yeah. And so we're not trying to sell Kielman products here. What we're saying is
No,
anybody could do that with a product. And if somebody did that, that would be an equally good product. But what
absolutely.
it's about having a cocktail that is tested, that you're having both a clinical mindset and a curious mindset and lots of data, because he is collaborating with doctors. He is collaborating with
Yeah,
research. He has
yeah,
been involved in helping cancer patients with parts of their treatment and doing some pretty amazing stuff, which I think is cool in Sweden, because that means that the level is presumably high.
yeah,
And I'm just saying that, Chinese medicine, Asian medicine, they do herbal mixtures per person, calibrated by whatever they
yes.
seem to need. So it's not really different from the African or whatever.
No.
It's just a
Well, this,
modern version. But
yeah.
it's not, it doesn't seem to be homeopathy. Does he call it that?
No, he doesn't.
No, because it isn't.
No, no, it isn't.
And I'm not saying anything for or against that. I'm just saying that this seems to be something else.
Yeah. Well, I think what I think is so special about the things that he does is the fact that he's also calibrating the cocktail effect. And I don't think anybody else does that. Actually checking out everything, every substance in like the green powder that you got
The
is
chlorophyll.
like 10, yeah, the 10 different substances is tested kinesiology, every one of them, but also do they all connect in a good way? And do
Yeah.
they connect in a good way for at least 80% of the clients that we are going to use this for? And then maybe
80,
we have to do, yeah, well,
80%. Yeah.
maybe as, yeah, your graph, I don't know if he uses that, but he's tested it for a long time to see, okay, this works, and it nearly always works. Okay, good. And if it doesn't work, then I have that instead.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that he's actually seen the cocktail effect and treated the nutrition things that he sells in the same way that he treats the body, I think that is the key here, that he's actually had the same approach that he has to the body. He's taken oils from all over the world, all different sorts, and he's put together the exact best oils to make an omega-3, that all the oils in that little omega-3 pill do actually work together, and it works in your body.
And remember, we need to remember that he's also human, and there's also a bell curve. So you could be among the 10% that wouldn't have any effect for.
Absolutely.
But when he does that, he's actually doing what Apple does. So you can buy a PC and you can buy different programs, and they will probably work together. There's a very high, chance that they work together. Yeah, probability. Yeah. But if you do buy an Apple Macintosh product, on the one hand, yeah, it's going to be more controlled and you can't really affect as much. But the programs have been tested together. So you know that iTunes and iMovie and whatever those things are, they're probably going to work well together. Maybe not always, but probably more, because it was thought of as a system from the beginning. That's how I see, that's the advantage. And anybody who does that will have that effect. And not everybody will have that perseverance and scientific mindset, along with, a curious mindset of experimenting. I really love this.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big problems I had. I just had a client a couple of weeks ago who told me that his grandmother got really fed up with life and said, no, that's it. I've had it. I'm off. I'm going to stop eating. And she had something like 10 different medicines, and she just quit them all. And within a week, she was fit, as a fiddle.
And we're not recommending anybody to do this.
No,
at
absolutely
all.
not. But it would be so nice if you had a doctor who had the thinking of Ulf Kidman, that, okay, you're having this tablet and this tablet and this tablet. What is the cocktail effect of all these 3, 4, 8, whatever together? So the holistic thinking.
That's the thing. We have science, and science is usually a study made by the companies that manufacture one of the substances. So they will do tests, random controlled trials, and they are properly done, but they're not going to test it against all the competitors or all the other substances in the market, because there's a limit to how much they can test. And in real life, substances are always used together. So even if some companies do this, it's a matter of time and cost. And, I need to make some money back on this product before I can actually do more tests. And all that's understandable. We just need to know it and regard these tests, thinking, if I'm in the 80% and it's not a cocktail, this might apply to me, and it's very probable. If I'm in the 10-10, then it might not at all. I usually tell my clients, if you put 1,000 peanuts in a room and I have 1,000 people eat them, 3 of them might die of an allergic shock. The rest might just, think it was a snack, and some will say it was not enough. Because that's how different it is. And that's a peanut, for Christ's sake, Well, I think this was wonderful. So advice to people is, check it out for yourself, think critically, but don't think too critically, because that way you're not going to, you're not going to try anything new, and you're going to be stuck where you are. But if you don't find yourself stuck, stay where you are if you're happy with what you have. I can recommend tuna. I can recommend that for your mammal. Go get your mammal balanced. Go get your mammal in shape. If you have any feelings for a dog or a horse or, cute puppies, then have that feeling for your body.
Absolutely. And I think it's very sad when people say, I don't believe it unless they've tried. So at least Try,
Well,
be adventurous, try it.
yeah, I have people who believe in science and people who don't. People who believe in
Mm.
hypnosis and people who don't. And whatever you believe in that works for you and doesn't harm anybody else, you should continue believing.
Yep.
And if you find yourself disbelieving stuff and not in good health, then maybe you should test the beliefs.
You maybe should. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
And all roads lead to Rome, but you have to go and do the walk.
When I was a kid, I loved pirates. I thought they were cool, and like Pirates of the Caribbean, and all that.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought the saying was all roads lead to rum.
Well, maybe
it's
not.
a belief system. All right.
It's a belief system.
So thanks, Donna.
Thank
Really
you very
appreciate it.
much.
Right. And if anybody wants to
Thank
ask you
you.
something, they just go to your page and send you an email, and you will probably respond as soon as you have
Absolutely.
time, which be
Yes.
probably a working day after they mailed, because you're busy with clients all day.
Yeah, but I'm usually quite quick on answering emails. So
I'm
just send me an email.
If anything I said made you happy or upset, let me know. I like people being touched in some way.
Yeah, get in touch. That's the best thing.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.